Let me take you now to Bolga, where the May Day celebrations are happening. It's at Jubilee Park. The Upper East Regional Minister, Stephen Yakubu, is currently addressing those gathered there. Let's take you live now.
Excessive charges. Also, in the formative years of the schemes, Cluster had to ward off shrewd consultants who attempted to control the privately managed schemes set up by the association. Lest we forget, our members who were in the service before January 1st, 2010 have part of their Tier 2 fund in the form of past credits in the custody of Senate. Negotiations between government, Forum, and Senate resulted in Senate adjusting interest rates on past credits, although below commercial rates. We call on Senate to transfer all past credits of members within the public sector to their respective schemes, as directed by the National Labour Commission in 2020. The recommendations of the Presidential Commission on Pensions and the government's white paper thereon indicated that Senate, as managers of Tier 1, should be restructured in order for Senate to deliver on its mandate efficiently and effectively under the contributory 3-tier pension scheme. Several years have gone by, but no attempt has been made to comply with the recommendations. Needs to be restructured. Now is the time, and now, no more delays. Senate needs to be restructured. Now is the time. Action now, no more delays. Workers, arise and protect your future. On this May Day, we salute
of this economy. It is therefore a shared responsibility between the states on one hand and workers on the other hand. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the choice of the region to host this year's celebration is not a coincidence, but a well-deserved choice. There is no doubt that this year's celebration is historic. It is a hallmark of the MPP government under the visionary leadership of His Excellency the President, who has kept faith with this region since his assumption to the presidency. It is therefore only proper that as a people we recognize and appreciate this gesture, and you know what I mean. 2024. Mr. Chairman, apart from our region's strategic location, aviation hub and a gateway to Sahel, the region is also endowed with a plethora of human and natural resources, such as arable land for agriculture production, capable of feeding. We are also proud of our water resources and irrigation schemes such as Tono via Tamde, which have not only provided direct and indirect labor force, but has also enhanced domestic water supply as well as food and fish requirements of the region and the country at large. It is also pleasing to state that a quality tomato variety has been developed which can compete with that of Burkina Faso for us to stop the frequent import of this commodity to the country. This will not only bring about rapid local economic development, but help stabilize our local currency. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Mr. President, in the spite of our challenges such as some pockets of internal conflict and threats posed by violent extremist groups from the Sahel, let me assure you that the region is well positioned to leverage on its comparative advantage to contribute its quota to the development of this our beloved country. I also want to pay growing tribute to workers who have passed on in the line of duty since last year, and all those who have diligently served this beloved country in various capacities. Our heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families. On this note, I wish to once again welcome you all to the regional capital of Bolgatanga, our beloved region, on behalf of the chiefs and people of the region and on my own behalf. I also wish to assure you of our utmost hospitality and urge all to patronize our unique basketry, artifacts, and agricultural produce and livestock, particularly our guinea fowls. I also wish to commend TUC and organized labor for the orderly manner in which the organization has been carried through this point. I do recognize how much work has been into organizing this successful celebration, and I acknowledge each and every one of you for your devoted service and participation. I wish you all the best of stay in the region, and I join the workers' unions to express my solidarity to all Ghanaian workers on this distinguished May Day. I say, Nair Fafra, Ayuko, thank you. Long live TUC, long live workers' solidarity. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Regional Minister. We are so grateful for welcoming all of us.
We are back. You can see some placards from workers here. What are your comments on some of these placards? Dear Nanado, we need freedom.
Of course. You can understand that.
If you can hold on.
We have Chief Inusa Abubakar here. We also have the Chief Director, the RCC, present here. The Regional Director of Education is also present. The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union leadership is here. MDU leadership is here. PUU leadership is here. And then the National Labour Commission is also present here. The Bolga Municipal Director of Education is also present here.
Comrades, we are going to invite the next speaker, but before that, we want to introduce ourselves to you. Your MCs for today are...
I'm Andrew Stego. I'm the Deputy General Secretary for the General Agricultural Workers Union, GAU.
I am Rebecca Kranabedu for NAGRAT.
I am Benjamin Anyagri Clocksack.
Thank you very much. Andy, please.
Thank you very much. The father of workers, organized labor, rep, the Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, that is the spokesperson for organized labor, will speak to Ghanaian workers. And he cannot speak without a song. Can we? We're gonna roll another name too.
Okay, so maybe he'll join us to roll.
We shall unite. All right. Secretary General would like We Shall Unite. That's our song. We are all singing We Shall Unite as workers still and work in concord, love and peace. The police band will please lead us.
They want to roll.
As in the people want to roll. Yes, we shall unite. Yes, we shall unite. Shall we please rise and sing this song?
Joe boy! Joe boy! Boy! Thank you.
Yeah. Secretary General. Thank you.
Without solidarity, there cannot be trade unionism.
We gonna roll. Shall we rise? The union or we gonna roll. On the way, we gonna roll it over them. Roll it over them. Roll it over them. When the boss is on the way, gonna roll it over them. We gonna roll the union on.
Your Excellency, Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Honorable Ministers of State, the heads of department, the Paramount Chief of Talency, the Bishop, our coordinator from Frederick Herbert Foundation. We also have here the CEO of Fair Wages Commission, the Chief Director, and we have among us one of the employers from Volta River Authority, Engineer Ken Arthur, the Deputy CEO in charge of services. Colleague, organized labor leaders, comrades, brothers and sisters, I would like to join the chairman and the Honorable Minister for Upper Region to welcome all of you to the National May Day Parade. Special welcome to our President, Nana Akufo-Addo. Here in Boga, they say, Ya Zazari. This is the 7th time the President is celebrating May Day with us. Usually he's accompanied by his Vice President. But today, the Vice President couldn't join us because of another important assignment. Your Excellency, we want you to know that we appreciate your presence very much. To us, it's an indication of your respect for workers of Ghana and the value you place on our contribution to the growth and development of Mother Ghana. We are looking forward to your message for the working people of Ghana on this special day. Comrades, Mr. President, the leadership of organized labor selected Upper East Region for this year's National May Day Parade for two main reasons. The first reason is that we wanted to have the opportunity as the working people of Ghana to show solidarity with the workers in the region as well as the people of this region. The ethnic conflict in the region is having a devastating impact on lives, property, businesses, jobs, schooling, healthcare, agriculture, and social and religious activities, particularly in the Boko district. We in organized labor believe that conflict and instability anywhere in the country pose a serious threat to lives and development everywhere in Ghana. Our second reason for choosing the Upper East region, Mr. President, is that we wanted to create an opportunity and a very unique platform for our president to address the people, the chiefs and people of Upper East region directly. We hope that by appealing to the warring factions in Boko directly from this region to complement all the efforts government has been making towards the resolution of the conflict in Boko, there will be peace in this region and in this country. When that happens, it will be a modest contribution organized labor is making towards peace and stability in the region. On this special occasion, we are appealing to you, Mr. President, and your government to intensify the efforts you are making towards the resolution of the conflict. We pray for God's wisdom for you to help resolve this conflict during your term in office, just as you have resolved the conflict in Dagbon. This will be a great legacy indeed. Comrades, now I would like to shift our attention to the theme of this year's celebration, protecting incomes and pensions in an era of economic crisis, our responsibility. So let me say a few things about the crisis. We are all feeling the effects of the high inflation. We are all feeling the effects of the high cost of living, the destruction of jobs, and the destruction of potential jobs, including employment freeze in the public sector, the debt crisis and the effects of the domestic debt exchange program on investors, including pensioners, the depreciation of the cedi, the sharp increases in fuel prices, the increases in water and utility prices, delays in infrastructure development, as well as the effects of the crisis on education, health, and human development generally. Sadly, Ghana has no choice but to turn to IMF. And now, as I speak, IMF has become the lifeline for Ghana. This is very, very regrettable, especially when you take into account the enormous human and natural resources in this country. Mr. President, we in organized labor hold the view that the economic crisis we are experiencing in Ghana today is self-imposed. We acknowledge the adverse effects of COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war on the global economy. But we do not believe that these events are the fundamental causes of Ghana's economic crisis. COVID-19 and the war in Ukraine have only exposed the weakness of our economy and the economic policy framework that has guided economic management in Ghana in the last 40 years. The reason Ghana has had to seek IMF support almost every 3 years is largely due to the flaws in the way our economy has been managed based on the neoliberal free market ideology. We would like to reiterate our well-known position that the IMF program can never take us out of this crisis. Our history of engagements with the IMF provides ample evidence that IMF-sponsored programs and policies cannot change our economic circumstances. Another IMF program will only impose more economic burden on us. We have to change the situation ourselves as Ghanaians. We believe strongly that government can lead us out of this crisis. And the government can do so by cutting expenditure on non-essentials, including the need to stop spending our hard-earned revenue on a national cathedral. Choboi. Let me say this again. We believe that government can lead us out of this crisis by cutting all non-essential expenditures, including the need to stop spending our hard-earned revenue on the National Cathedral. I'm sure the president will have something to say about this. The president has always said he wants to create another Notre Dame in Ghana so we can attract a lot of visitors. But we disagree. In fact, comrades, it will be better to convert the project into a national hospital. Mr. President, you can also reduce the size of your government. Ghana has too many ministers and deputy ministers. Choboi. Revenue mobilization. We acknowledge the efforts government is making, but those efforts must be intensified to mobilize more revenue. But we want to caution government against the excessive use of regressive taxes, which impose a disproportionate burden on local businesses and on poor people in society. And here I want to mention a very important institution we have in this country, the Ghana Revenue Authority. The Ghana Revenue Authority and all the agencies under that authority must be freed from all forms of political interference so that they can perform their functions professionally and effectively. We urge government, again I want to mention another important institution that doesn't receive the attention it deserves, and that is the National Development Planning Commission. The NDPC has come out with some recommendations on how we can mobilize taxes in a policy brief number 1, which was issued in 2022 November. And I want to quickly run through 5 of their recommendations. Number 1, our major exports should be made a major contributor to tax and non-tax revenue. Number 2, Ghana should renegotiate all of the incentives in the extractive industry. And a foreign extractive firm should not be treated any differently from a local firm in the sector and in any sector for tax purposes. Number 3, firms in the extractive industry, the mining, the oil, and so on, should be taxed based on their turnover. Number 4, Ghana must negotiate for equity shares in all the extractive firms. And the last one, consideration should be given to some environmental taxes to save our environment. Comrades, now let me say a few things about incomes. The first thing we want to do, if we really mean to protect incomes, is to protect jobs. We need to protect the jobs that afford workers the opportunity to earn regular incomes. Too many workers are losing their jobs in Ghana because some employers are abusing their rights to hire and fire. Other employers are also taking advantage of the weaknesses in our labor law and replacing permanent employment contracts with fixed-term employment contracts. In the last 5 years, TUC alone has lost thousands of its members due to this practice, which is being promoted and facilitated by private employment agencies. That is why we have been pushing for the review of the national labor law to protect jobs and to protect incomes. Mr. President, once again, we would like to appeal to you to ensure that the labor law review is completed this year. This is very important. We have been appealing for a very, very long time, but we are very unhappy about the slow pace at which the labor law reform is going. If nothing is done, we are afraid that you will leave office and we will not get the labor law. We appreciate your commitment to the review, and we will be very, very happy that if you leave this as a legacy for the working people of Ghana. Another measure that government can take to effectively protect incomes is to adopt a wage policy that indexes wage to inflation. That was why this year we proposed 60% increase for public sector workers. And because at the time inflation was 53%, after so many meetings, several weeks, and a couple of months of negotiation, we were given 30%. But 30% appears very substantial. But in real terms, workers of Ghana have suffered a very significant decline in their real incomes. A permanent solution to this is to make sure inflation comes down. We expect government to provide leadership in this direction. We expect that inflation will come down. But we want to take the opportunity of the presence of the president at this national parade. And we know that the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission CEO is also here. The Minister for Employment is also here. We want to take this opportunity to serve notice that if inflation remains high, organized labor will continue to demand wage increases that reflect inflation and the high cost of living. Because that is the only way we can guarantee a living wage and a decent life for the working people of Ghana. Mr. President, workers on the single spine salary structure are receiving the lowest salaries in the public sector. Even though they are providing all the essential services to the people of Ghana. They are providing, they are providing the health care. Our doctors are here, our nurses are here, our midwives are here, the laboratory technicians are there, the mortuary men are here. They are helping provide healthcare services. They are helping to provide education. We have Ghana National Association of Teachers, we have concerned teachers, we have NAGRAT. They are here with us. They are providing the national security. We have the police services, the immigration services, and all the security agencies. These are very important services that we expect government to provide. But the salaries that are being paid to single spine salary workers has to change. We urge government to complete the review of the single spine pay policy before the next round of negotiations. And Mr. President, we will no longer accept a situation where Article 71 office holders are awarded huge pay increases with fat allowances, while some workers on the single spine continue to receive less than 600 Ghana cedis per month, which is less than the international poverty line of $2 a day. Joy, as we all know, every wage earner in this country takes care of a number of relatives. That makes wages the most important source of income in Ghana. We are therefore calling on you, Mr. President, to ensure that the single spine pay policy is reviewed to reflect this reality. Comrades, let me now move to pensions. And here I want you to pay attention, because I have very good news for you. Let me drink some water and then I'll give you the good news. Oh, no, this is fine. Comrades, protecting pensions is our responsibility. And as the developments in the last few weeks, few months on the labor scene have shown, clearly we take that responsibility very seriously. To us, our first responsibility now is to continue to protect our pension funds from the domestic debt exchange program. We want to once again remind government that the memorandum of understanding we signed on the 22nd of December 2022 stated clearly that all pension funds have been exempted from the domestic debt exchange program. All pension funds have been exempted from the domestic debt exchange program. Nothing has changed. So, Mr. President, please do not touch our pension funds. The good news is yet to come. Comrades, there is good news I want to share with you now, before I conclude. You may all recall that in 2021, His Excellency the President of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, attended the May Day parade in front of the TUC. And the President promised that government will top up lump sum benefits for all those who retired fully under Act 766, starting from January 2020. And those who retired at that time, their lump sums were lower than what they would have earned if they had retired under PNDC Law 247. As I speak to you, all those who are eligible are yet to receive the top-ups. And this is where the good news is. After a long consultation with the government, I'm very happy to announce today that the President has assured us Hello. I'm very happy to announce that the President has assured us, through Honorable Minister for Employment and Labor Relations and the Minister for Finance, that the lump sum top-up will be paid this year. Comrades, it's always better late than never. And whatever it is, our pensioners who are suffering need this money. And we are very grateful to President that. And what we expect is that before the budget review in 2023, this top-up will be paid. Comrades, another issue about pensions that need urgent attention has to do with the second-tier pensions. We expect the National Pension Authority to be strengthened to regulate, supervise, and monitor the numerous privately managed second-tier schemes. If we don't do that, what happened in the banking sector may happen in the pension sector. We also need to strengthen the social insurance aspect of SNIT by making pension accessible to workers in the informal economy. It doesn't make sense that out of 13 million Ghanaians, only 1.7 million who are working have pensions. Mr. President, as I come to the end of my long speech, I want to draw your attention to some issues that are bothering organized labor every day. The first issue has to do with the violation of workers' rights by some unscrupulous employers, especially the violation of the right to form a union or to join a union. Too many Ghanaian workers remain outside the coverage of collective agreements. Why? Because they fear victimization from their employers when they join the union. And this is the fate of many Ghanaians, especially those working for foreign companies across all the sectors of the economy. Some managers in these companies are deliberately frustrating the efforts of Ghanaian workers to exercise their constitutional right to join a union or to form a union of their choice. And Mr. President, currently, we are dealing with a situation, and it is a very strange one. And that situation is at Sunon Asogli Power Ghana Limited, at Boom. In that company, there are some Chinese managers, and they are collaborating with some Ghanaian managers, and they have ganged up to make sure that the workers in the company will never be unionized. As I speak to you, as soon as the union was formed and workers' leaders were selected, they sacked the chairman, the secretary, and the assistant secretary immediately. We met the managers. We asked them, why did you sack them? They told us there's no reason except that they don't want them in the company again. These are people who have worked for the company 10 years, 8 years, and 5 years. So you are telling us that in our own country, you can come from far away China to come and tell us how we should live in our country. We have a labor law that allows unions to form, that allows workers to join all unions of their choice. Comrades, we are not going to sit down. And let me here acknowledge the effort the Minister for Employment has been making. Earlier last week, the Honorable Ignatius Baisfuewa and his deputy and the chief director, we met the managers of Sunon Asogli for almost 5 hours. But we are not going to meet them again if they don't reinstate the 3 colleagues that have been sacked. And comrades, I want to let you know, we have already notified the police in Tema that on the 9th of May, on the 9th of May, the first solidarity action will take place. And I want those of you who are listening to me in Tema and Accra to get ready for action. On the 9th of May, we will give you the details by the close of this week. But I want you to be ready for this action. We will let them know that they cannot come from China to tell us what to do in our own country. Mr. President, we do not think that our government should allow such a thing to happen in our country at this day and age. We expect government to do something about this urgently. If government doesn't do anything about it, we will do something about it. If government doesn't do anything about this situation, we, the workers of Ghana, will do something about it. Brother Chairman, Your Excellency, I would now like to end my long speech with two special requests to you. The first issue is about the Saglame housing project. Mr. President, please do what you can to make the Saglame housing project useful for Ghanaian workers. We should not and we cannot allow that project to go waste when many workers who are contributing so much to Ghana's development cannot have places to lay their heads. Mr. President, the second request is about Tema Oil Refinery. We believe that government has the capacity to revamp Tema Oil Refinery. We are appealing to you to use your good offices to change the fortunes of Tema Oil Refinery. That will be another great legacy indeed. In conclusion, Brother Chairman, Your Excellency, we would like to appeal to you to convene a national dialogue on the economy so that all the stakeholders can meet and build a consensus on the way out of this economic crisis. That forum will also provide opportunity and pave the way to build a more resilient economy. The working people of Ghana and their unions are ready to play our part in the social and economic development of our dear motherland, Ghana. Finally, on behalf of the leadership of organized labor, I would like to thank the chairman and members of the National May Day Planning Committee. And here I want to mention my brother, John Amegashi, and my deputy, brother Joshua Ansa, and all the members of the committee. We also want to thank the local planning committee based here in Bolga, including the Minister for the region, for all the good work they have done to make sure we have a successful May Day deliberation. Again, on behalf of the leadership of organized labor, I would like to congratulate all the award winners for a good job done. I wish all the working people of Ghana a very, very, very happy May Day celebration. Long live organized labor. Long live Ghana. God bless our homeland, Ghana. Thank you very much.
That was Dr. Yalba. He is Secretary General of the Trade Union Congress.
Government's role is to protect workers. It is no other person's duty. It is not the duty of TUC. TUC's role is complementary. The government has a fundamental responsibility to protect Ghanaian workers, give them decent work, protect their rights. Because the Constitution is the Constitution of Ghana is such that government must comply with the Constitution.
We go to the high table. We'll be back shortly.
May Day every day. And whenever we come, we speak our minds like it is.
Yes.
And as a father, he gives us comforting answers.
Yes.
So today, he is going to speak to us and the nation. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, we are going to listen to our father, the keynote address. Shall we all rise? Shall we all rise wherever we are seated? Shall we all rise where we are seated? And we are going to give, in anticipation of our father speaking to us, 3 big bosses for the president himself coming to deliver his address and answering our questions and addressing our concerns. We will start with the first bossa with the right. Let's give a big bossa. Bossa, the left. Bossa, and the right last one. Bossa. Thank you you very much, Your Excellency. Ghanaian workers and Ghanaians are ready for your speech. Thank you, sir.
Catholic Bishop of the Bolgatanga and Navrongo Diocese, Upper East Regional Minister, Minister for Employment and Labor Relations, and Member of Parliament for Sunyani West, the Minister for Defense and Member of Parliament for Bimbila, Minister for the Interior and Member of Parliament for Nandong, Members of Parliament, Chairperson and members of the Board of the Trades Union Congress, Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, representatives of organized labor, the Tongorana and other traditional rulers, Ghanaian workers, fellow Ghanaians, ladies and gentlemen. It is always a great pleasure to be in the company of organized labor on the occasion of the International Workers' Day of Solidarity, May Day. Ghanaian workers, Aiko. The Vice President, who has always been present at May Day celebrations since 2017, has asked me to convey his apologies to you for not being able to make it today. He's welcoming the Prime Minister of one of Ghana's most important partners, Japan, who's arriving this morning in Accra for a 2-day official visit. He's the second Japanese Prime Minister ever to visit our country. God willing, next year, the Vice President will be with us again on May Day. Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen, it is good to be back in Bolgatanga, the city chosen for the 7th May Day celebration of my presidency. And I'm happy the leadership of organized labor continues to rotate the hosting of this all-important event for workers between the regions. It mirrors the now established practice of rotating the venue of our Independence Day celebrations. Long may these traditions continue. Since the onset of COVID-19, whose effects have been exacerbated by the Russian invasion of Ukraine, one of my major preoccupations continues to be the protection of lives and livelihoods. Indeed, this is a responsibility bestowed on me by the Constitution, and I want to reassure you that government will do whatever it takes to protect your incomes and pensions in these challenging times. When we met last year at the Black Star Square in Accra, I assured you of government's commitment to protecting the jobs and incomes of workers. Not only did we demonstrate this over the course of the year, we also proceeded to improve on the existing incomes of workers and pensioners alike. Organized labor appealed to government for the payment of cost of living allowance, COLA, for public sector workers to cushion them against the difficult economic conditions. In response, government and organized labor reached an agreement for the payment of 15% COLA to public sector workers. As a sign of goodwill for workers in the private sector, the National Tripartite Committee agreed to the payment of 15% COLA for them, in addition to the 10% upward adjustment of the 2023 National Daily Minimum Wage. In spite of the difficulties, the difficult challenges government employers face, this was made possible through consensus building to ensure businesses attain high levels of employment to hasten economic recovery. This is no mean feat, as it is the first time in the history of the determination of the national daily minimum wage that the parties agreed to the payment of COLA after wage adjustment for the year has already been agreed. This is an indication of our collective resolve to protect workers and their standards of living. We would also recall that this year began with government and organized labor concluding negotiations on the 2023 base pay and pay point relativity for public sector workers in January 2023. Following a series of consultations and consensus building within the Public Services Joint Standing Negotiating Committee, the base pay on the single spine salary structure was increased by 30% over the 2022 figure, effective 1st January 2023. Indeed, the 30% increment of the 2023 base pay is the highest since the introduction of the single spine salary structure in 2010. It was made possible by the 2.5% increase in VAT. This increment will help mitigate the difficult conditions workers are facing, largely arising from the effects of global inflation. I urge organized labor to continue to work with the rest of the tripartite body to conclude negotiations of public sector salaries and the minimum wage for the 2024 financial year as soon as possible. On the issue of pensions, government recognizes the challenge posed by low pensions resulting from the relatively low incomes workers receive during their working life. Because government is resolved to improve pension payouts, effective 1st January this year, all pensioners on the SNP pension roll as of 31st December 2022 have had their monthly pensions increased by 25%. This year's increase is a significant improvement over the 2022 rate of 10%, and also the highest increase of annual pensions since 2005, during the time of the government of another MPP president, His Excellency John Agyekum Kufuor. All these measures put together demonstrate to workers that the Akufo-Addo government is a listening one, a government which is committed to improving the lot of workers and their dependents. In the wake of the current global economic crisis, it has become even more imperative to protect workers. Our collective responsibility in achieving this objective is important, and it is for this reason that I consider the theme for today's celebration, protecting incomes and pensions in an era of economic crisis, our responsibility, as most appropriate. Secretary General, organized labor, it is evident that this current global crisis is the worst crisis the world has experienced in the past 50 years. In spite of the damaging effect of the crisis, we have managed to protect lives, livelihoods, and jobs, and kept the lights on. The crisis is having a profound impact on national economies and societies. Incomes, pensions, and investment funds are equally being affected as a result of the multiplier effects of the multifaceted crisis. Government's policy responses have been targeted at restoring macroeconomic stability, ensuring debt sustainability from the short-term mitigation options to addressing the long-term structural challenges and paving the way for sustainable and inclusive growth and development. I acknowledge the fact that over the past few months, the Ghanaian discourse has been dominated by the launch of the Domestic Debt Exchange Program. I wish to emphasize that participation in the Domestic Debt Exchange Program, voluntary as it was critical for the protection of the economy and the enhancement of our capacity to service our public debts effectively and create fiscal space for our growth and development. In the midst of the current economic crisis, we cannot risk defaulting in the payment of our public debts, which will attract severe consequences, and hence the debt exchange program. Despite the back and forth which characterized discussions with stakeholders on the domestic debt exchange program, government is truly grateful for the overwhelming participation of bondholders. The support, cooperation, input, and feedback government received to fine-tune eventually the domestic debt exchange program were unprecedented and reassuring. In undertaking the domestic debt exchange program, we have been very mindful of its potential impact on the pension funds of workers. We will not act in any way to shortchange workers in protecting their pensions. It is for this reason that government, through an MOU signed with organized labor on 22nd December 2022, decided to grant exemption to all pension funds in the domestic debt exchange program. At the same time, in the MOU, both government and organized labor agreed to work together, quote, to explore mutually beneficial options within debt sustainability limits and to also promote macroeconomic stability and economic recovery in the spirit of social partnership, unquote. In this regard, within global risk management practice, the options should include diversifying the portfolio of pension funds from the current 70% in government paper to real sector investments, including rail, housing, urban transportation, motorways, and airports, as is done by other pension funds. I'm aware that both the Minister for Finance and the Minister for Employment and Social Relations and their technical teams have been working with organized labor and its associations and pension fund managers and trustees to explore these mutually beneficial options. I'd like to use this occasion to appeal to organized labor to work urgently with government to conclude the discussions within the spirit of social partnership and burden sharing towards addressing our economic challenges and providing a stronger base for our rapid growth and development. We're also very much aware of the impact of the domestic debt exchange program on the domestic financial sector, and steps are being taken to mitigate the impact of the domestic debt exchange program on the sector. As has been announced by the Finance Minister, we're establishing the Ghana Financial Stability Fund to provide, among others, solvency and liquidity support to eligible financial sector institutions which may be affected by the domestic debt exchange program. In addition, the Bank of Ghana and the regulators in the financial sector space have provided some regulatory reliefs to support affected institutions. In keeping with our common objective, government through the Financial Stability Council will monitor continuously the impact of the domestic debt exchange program on financial institutions to enable it to take remedial action if and when necessary. This will ensure that measures put in place to safeguard incomes, deposits, pensions, investor funds, and assets are effective. Mr. Secretary General, I agree with organized labor when it says protecting incomes and pensions in an era of economic crisis is our responsibility. This is evidenced by the fact that over the course of the year, government has kept every single public sector work on the payroll. There have been no job losses. Every public sector worker continues to keep his or her job. Even at the peak of the dual global health and economic crisis of the last 3 years, government ensured that no public sector worker was taken off the payroll as a result of the crisis. Government's posture today is the same, even in the difficult times we find ourselves. We've demonstrated this through our commitment to increases in the national daily minimum wage, base pay, and pension payments, amongst others, in spite of their fiscal impact on the economy. Indeed, these increments have been made possible because government is very empathetic towards the people, as it should be, and is very concerned about their plight and the future of our country. In so saying, I'm aware that the Ministers for Finance and Labor and Employment Relations are working on the payment to the retirees of 2020. SNIT has completed the computation and has forwarded to the Minister for Finance, who has assured me that it will be effected this year. And I want to take that opportunity to reiterate to you that assurance. It is important to emphasize that protecting pensions and incomes in an era of economic crisis is tied to increased productivity, enhanced revenue mobilization, effective expenditure management, and in particular, the effective and sustainable management of the public sector wage bill. Today, the expenditure on compensation of employees, which comprises wages and salaries, allowances, pensions, gratuities, and social security contributions, represents 56.01% of tax revenue, which is higher than the ECOWAS threshold of 35%, creating a serious fiscal crowd-out effect. This calls for immediate steps to increase productivity in the public service, as well as aggressively increase revenue collection by the Ghana Revenue Authority. Given that growth in public expenditure far outstrips that of revenue, it behoves on government to bring expenditures, including the public sector wage bill, to sustainable levels. Managing the public sector wage bill in a sustainable manner would inure to the protection of incomes and pensions, as it helps contain inflation. Mr. Secretary General, we brought inflation to single digits and sustained it for some time until the global crisis pushed inflation to its current heights. We have brought inflation to single digits before, and we will do it again. Secretary General, the quest to diversify the economy for greater macroeconomic outcomes has become more paramount than ever. The current crisis provides an impetus for diversifying trade and production and exploring alternative income earning opportunities. As you know, we're committed to the policy of domestic food security and export-driven value addition. It is in our interest to patronize domestic goods and services to hasten economic recovery, create jobs for our peoples, and boost their incomes. Many a time, we overlook the national penchant for foreign goods and services, but are quick to blame government when it begins to have a toll on our foreign reserves. Government will continue to do what is within its control. However, consumer preference for goods and services must be deliberately championed by us all. We must patronize the services of our own, support them to grow, support them to employ our fellow Ghanaians, so that together we can contribute meaningfully to building the Ghana we all want. I urge everybody here to support the region by patronizing made-in-Ghana products, including food and drinks, before departing to your respective destinations. This is one of the ways in which we can protect the incomes of people working and living here in Bolgatanga. Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen, dialogue, consultations, engagement in frank and open discussions remain very important routes through reaching consensus and proffering solutions for issues of national development. To this end, I'd like to entreat the tripartite, namely government, organized labor, and employers association, to reactivate the Social Partnership Council that was inaugurated in April 2019, but whose mandate came to an end in December 2022. The Social Partnership Council offers a mechanism for building a sense of cohesion, trust, self-management, and engagement in frank discussions with mutual sacrifices from all stakeholders to champion Ghana's development. I'm informed the government has already circulated a request for nomination for the reconstitution of the Social Partnership Council to the rest of the tripartite. And I call on the tripartite to provide nominations for the immediate reconstitution of the Social Partnership Council. This will be consistent with the Kwawu Declaration from the National Labour Conference of March 2022, which called for the Social Partnership Council to be strengthened as a platform for building consensus on development policies and programs. Secretary General, ladies and gentlemen, let me touch on a very important subject matter, which is the status of the IMF program negotiations. After achieving a staff-level agreement with the IMF in December 2022 in record time, 6 months after beginning the negotiations in July 2022, we've continued to work tirelessly to complete all prior actions required to present Ghana's program to the IMF Executive Board for approval. We've also made substantial progress on the debt exchange program, as well as on our engagements with bilateral creditors to secure financing assurance required for the IMF program. We are assured that the next round of meetings of the Paris Club will result in the formation of an official creditor committee, inclusive of China, and the provision of financing assurances. The IMF and the World Bank have been very supportive in this journey. With the progress made so far, we expect the IMF board to consider Ghana's program for imminent approval after the financing assurances are provided. I thank organized labor for the role they have played in this journey, especially their inputs into the preparation of the government's post-COVID-19 program for economic growth, which underpins the IMF-supported program. We're very confident that the approval of the IMF program will contribute significantly to the revival of confidence required to drive the successful implementation of the post-COVID-19 program for economic growth and the key structural reforms for economic recovery and sustained inclusive growth. Already, the progress we have made in securing the IMF staff-level agreement, in the debt exchange program, and the implementation of key structural reforms are yielding results. Inflation is decelerating. Interest rates on government treasury notes are declining. The depreciation of the cedi is slowing down, and GDP growth for 2022 has performed beyond expectations. With the successful implementation of the post-COVID-19 program for economic growth, we expect growth to recover in the medium term to over 5%. The medium-term growth will be supported by key intervention to support improvement in the business environment and export competitiveness, promotion of entrepreneurship for private sector development, fast-tracking the implementation of key growth-orientated programs under the Ghana Cares or Bantapa program, transitioning to a digital economy to boost productivity, increasing tax collection, and the formalization of the economy, and the strengthening of policies to adapt to and mitigate climate change for inclusive growth. As I have said on several occasions, Ghana will emerge stronger from this difficult period. I assure you that by dint of hard work, prudence, and creativity, we will turn things round. We will work to help return our economy to the days of high growth rates and make our country again the best place to do business and the most attractive destination for investment in West Africa, like we were in March 2020, prior to the onset of COVID-19. We are confident of a rapid economic recovery, and my government will not relent in this regard. It is a solemn pledge I'm making to you, my fellow Ghanaians, and one which I am determined to fulfill. Before I conclude, there is a matter of great importance which I must address, and it has to do with the stability of our nation. In times of difficulties, there would be those who would seek to exploit the situation in order to jeopardize the hard-won reputation of our country as a beacon of democracy and stability in Africa, and indeed in the world, in order to gratify their personal ambitions. Their ambitions show little or no respect for the capacity of the Ghanaian people to change their government peacefully through the ballot box, something they have done on 3 separate occasions in the 30-year life of the Fourth Republic. The great majority of us who are committed to democratic values and democratic institutions must continue to resist the claims of these adventurers and employ all legitimate means in a democracy to maintain our free, open system of governance, which is respectful of human rights, the rule of law, and the principles of democratic accountability. My government and I's respect for fundamental human rights, which are guaranteed by the Constitution of the Republic, includes respect for the right of association, which entitles every citizen to join any lawful association of his or her choice. That includes the right to join trades unions. And so long as I am president, we will continue to uphold that right. I need the active cooperation of organized labor to ensure that that right is respected. And I'll do my part to ensure the completion of the review of the labor law. In response to the appeal by the Secretary General to intensify efforts of bringing peace to Boko, I want to assure him, and indeed the nation at large, that there is no higher priority for government on the agenda of national security than the resolution of the Boko conflict. Not only are we enhancing as we speak the security deployment in the area to promote more strongly the rule of law and hold accountable all who violate law and order in the area, we're also intensifying the efforts to find a solution to the customary tensions that underline the Boko conflict, so that hopefully a final resolution of that conflict can be attained, just as has been attained in Gabon. Nothing will give me greater pleasure in the concluding days of my presidency than to help bring lasting peace to Boko. May God grant me the wisdom to achieve that outcome. In conclusion, I celebrate you, our gallant workers, once again for your hard work, selflessness, sacrifice, patriotism, and commitment to the development of our beloved nation. Your contributions will be duly recognized and rewarded, and I urge you to remain steadfast and focused in your pursuit of excellence. On this august occasion, I appeal to all Ghanaians including organized labor, to continue to build on the good rapport and excellent relations that exist between us. The peace we enjoy today should never be taken for granted, and we should cherish every single moment that allows us to advance our development, progress, and prosperity in conditions of peace and stability. And I assure you of government's utmost support, cooperation, and commitment to that end. I thank you for your attention and congratulations to all awardees. Long live trade union solidarity.
Long live.
Long live organized labor.
Long live.
May God bless organized labor and us all. And may God bless our homeland Ghana and make us great and strong. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you.
Applause, 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 applause.
Oh boy.
Hey, applause.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
We are taking a song from the police band.
Your thoughts on his presentation?
Well, he attempted to respond to some of the issues raised by the Secretary General of TUC. But, you know, we are concerned about the fact that
Sister Amina Issa, our brother Emmanuel Obing, our sister Mavis Apia, well done. Today your hard work is being recognized. Today, original King James, he has a new portfolio. Well done. We will call on our brother Al-Hassan M. Oldman. We will also call brother Al-Hassan Abubakari. Our sister Doris Aban. And our brother John Kobla Abaya. We are so grateful for your service to the motherland. Well done. Well done. Hard work indeed pays. And today you are being recognized for your hard work. Such a privilege. This year we are having quite a number of women, and that is impressive. Hopefully next year we'll have a greater number of women receiving awards. We invite our brother Isaac Kobna Brother Elvis Kennedy Yakun, Sister Rosetta M.N. Boachi, our brother David Kwame Habia, our brother Theodore Agomeda Tete, our sister Eva Tobra Ejekum, our brother Divine Tamaklu, and our brother Richard Asamoah Mensah. Well done. Well done. Well done. Congratulations. Hard work indeed pays. From all sectors of the economy, they are being awarded today. We will invite our brother Godfred Abulbre Adogma, our brother Hussein Idrisu, our brother Muhammad Anas Tofiru, our brother Felix Edi Kwansan, our brother Samuel Namwapoli, our brother Mahmoud Muhammad, our sister Sadia Yakubu. Then finally we invite the Bumnaba Alhaji Muhammadu Asibi Azonko. Well done. Well done. Well done. So grateful. Well done. Congratulations. 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 Such a privilege. We are so grateful, Your Excellency, for doing us the honors. We are so grateful. Well done. We should take a picture. Okay, so we'll have group pictures after this. I've mentioned his name. That's for Gumna. Yes. So I let them come. Thank you. Yes, it's left with two. Yes. So we'll call leadership of organized labor should prepare to have a group picture with His Excellency. Okay. So we'll have group pictures. Award winners will come back, have a group picture with His Excellency, followed by leadership of organized labor. Then we top it up with organizing committee members. Yes, so award winners, please come with your awards, and we have a picture with His Excellency. Quickly, please. We want it done quickly. Yes, together. Award winners, please come quickly with your awards.
Impact of these awards. You said it has two dimensions. It motivates other workers whilst encouraging the distinguished worker receiving the award.
Yeah. Yes, you know, and also beyond that, you know, it goes a long way to create harmony in their homes. You know, well, when they take these awards